If you are here because you want to get more clients, you want to be seen as an authority, you are in pain. You might not use that word. You might say that you're irritated or you're dissatisfied or you know something could be better with your marketing. But the fact is that if your ears perked up when I said, I want to help you get more clients, then you know that you want them and you know you haven't gotten them yet. And that is what I call a pain. And your clients have tons of them, okay? They're in pain for a couple of reasons. And the foundation, the key to authority is understanding those pains and then speaking to them in a way that makes sense to them. So when you can show them that you understand those pains and then express the fact that you understand them in their actual language, that's magic. So we are going to use AI to stimulate that process. Instead of interviewing your actual customers and scoring 100 out of 100 on what their problems are, I'm going to show you how to use AI to get super close in a matter of seconds instead of weeks or months that it might take to compile 20 interviews.
So guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. This is Aaron Wrixon, and you saw the email, but amazing background, has been a writer. So since the end of the last decade, has written
Time.
every single day this decade. So we just shared 10 million words. This century, not decade. I'm sorry, saying the wrong words there. 10 million words.
Interesting.
That's a lot. So, today I know the topic is building up your authority with AI, and how you craft your content, strategize your content, whether that's LinkedIn, whether that's your website. And if I remember right, you had actually kind of planned on maybe picking an audience member to do this with. Is that accurate? All right.
Yes. So I'm going to want someone who is not necessarily tightly niched, but who works with a group of the same kinds of clients, whether that's home service companies or HVAC companies or lawyers or whatever. So when the time comes, I'm going to ask them to put their hand. What I'm about to show you is not dependent on being niched, but just for purposes of cool results inside of a call like this. It's going to be easier if we could just take my canned prompts and put in somebody's industry. You could, of course, reroute those prompts if you're not niched. But like I said, I'm trying to speak and think and help you all at the same time. So the least amount of thinking I have to do, the better. In any case, Mike is right. We are going to talk about using AI to build authority online, and specifically using AI to help you stop worrying about what to say and start getting more clients. It's going to be about content because that's what I do, but it's not going to be necessarily about more content. Yeah, you will see some tips that will help you create more content, but what we're going to talk about is going to help you create better content that resonates more with those clients of yours, with your prospects, to help you portray yourself as an expert, as the authority that they want to do business with. And to do that, we are going to take advantage of a quirk in human behavior. As humans, we tend to respect people more when we agree with them. It's just a thing. I mean, obviously, you can come to respect someone that you disagree with, but that doesn't happen until you find common ground. I was saying before many of you got here that I'm Canadian, so I don't have a dog in the fight about whether you watch MSNBC or Fox News, but whether you watch either one, imagine watching the other one. Chances are you're not going to nod along and go, oh yeah, I completely agree with that person. I think they're very smart, right? You tend to be most impressed with what you agree with, and you tend to be most impressed with a talking head on the TV when they seem like an authority to you. They might be able to change your mind a little bit. I might be able to today change your mind about whether or not you should be using AI or uh, whether it's necessarily good or bad. But the reason that you're going to pay attention to me today is this sort of fundamental agreement that's promised in the title of Mike's webinar. You want to get more clients. You want to become more of an authority. I know how to help you do that. And so we have this sort of shared intersection of the Venn diagram that's going to help build that agreement and that authority. I'm going to help you do that without benefit of a webinar for your clients or someone else saying they're an expert. We're going to do some tricks to zoom in on what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what kind of problems they want to solve, so that you can speak more in their language about the things that are more important to them. And then through that process, come to be seen as more of an authority. Does that make sense? Anyone have any questions so far? Oh, we're good. All right, I'm knocking stuff over on my desk. So I want to talk first about pains, because to be clear, if you are here because you want to get more clients, you want to be seen as an authority, you are in pain. You might not use that word. You might say that you're irritated or you're dissatisfied or something could be better with your marketing. But the fact is that if your ears perked up when I said, I want to help you get more clients, then you know that you want them and you haven't gotten them yet. And that is what I call a pain for purposes of efficiency. And your clients have tons of them, okay? They're in pain for a couple of reasons. They have functional problems that they can't solve, things that they're trying to do. And they have emotional issues that they're wrestling with, that they're either trying to fix or trying to run away from. And the foundation, the key to authority, is understanding those pains and then speaking to them in a way that makes sense to them. So those two types of pains, like I said, the first one is functional pains. These are the tangible problems that your clients and your leads are facing at work. Things like a lack of in-house expertise in the kind of stuff that you're good at, or uncertainty about how to scale, or technical challenges around running an ad campaign or a website or SEO, or even like crummy results or struggling to prove ROI or inconsistent leads, et cetera, et cetera. These are the functional stuff that they're trying to get done. But what's really driving those decisions, the stuff that's eating them alive at 2:00 in the morning, are the emotional pains, the kind of stuff that keep them up at night, right? The fear of falling behind, stress around a complex project, the pressure of delivering to like stakeholders or superiors, or, the pressure of even sitting around the dinner table with their spouse, not wanting to seem like a failure, even anxiety about working with you as a provider, right? So when your content speaks to both of these levels of pain, there's a really powerful thing that happens, and that is your audience feels deeply understood by you. And that is the building block of authority. So when you can show them that you understand those pains and then express the fact that you understand them in their actual language, that's magic. So when they see your content on LinkedIn, or they go to your website, or see your social or your ads, they're going to think, oh, these guys get what I'm going through. They can see me. It's like an x-ray. And that's when you move from being like just another agency, quote unquote, to a trusted authority in their eyes. So, like I said, that happens most, that feeling of understanding is strongest when they see those problems expressed to them in their own language, the exact words and phrases that they use. Like if you think about how different it feels when you're reading some generic website versus seeing your frustrations reflected back exactly to you, it's like night and day. But it's not always possible to do the work, or it's not always time efficient or effective to do the work to get inside the head of customer after customer after customer. Maybe people don't want to do interviews. Maybe you don't have time. You've got 26 other things to do. So we are going to use AI to simulate that process. Instead of interviewing your actual customers and scoring 100 out of 100 on what their problems are, I'm going to show you how to use AI to get super close in a matter of seconds instead of weeks or months that it might take to compile 20 interviews. Because if you think about how AI works, if it has crawled the entirety of the internet, it probably already can come really close to how your customers think, because there's people complaining out there about it's the exact same things that your clients are going through. So when you ask AI to hallucinate or hypothesize about the problems that your people are having, you're going to get, well, like I say, close enough for fighting, right? You're going to get, I always say that 80% of perfect insight into your clients is a lot better than 0%. And if you're not doing the work now, if you're not doing those interviews because they're going to be just so ponderous, this thing is going to increase your ability to connect with customers by leaps and bounds. I'm really excited to show it to you. So I will ask for questions before we dive in. If anybody has any questions yet about authority or about those functional or emotional pains. Otherwise, I will pick a volunteer. I thought I heard someone's voice. Was that you, Mike, or someone else?
It was. So as you were talking about that, it uh, led me to remind our partners that we actually have given all of our partners some drip emails
Cool.
that they should be sending to folks prior to their meeting, right? So they've already booked a meeting, and but no shows happen, right? And forgetting why I think that you were cool in the first place to even show up to the meeting happens. And so we've given them all these drip emails, and they talk about the most common pain points. And we have to go industry agnostic, right? Because we
Yeah.
work with so many different, agencies, so they could certainly hone these in. But, we talk about our approach to competitor data and why we start with a competitor analysis as our first meeting, right? Our approach to transparency, because lots of folks have struggled with agencies being transparent about what's going on. Our approach to communication, our approach to ensuring we don't overpromise and underdeliver. And those that have executed that have had a great success with increased show rates, and then actually closing rates, right? Because it built up value that wasn't inside of a meeting. I don't know. It seems to me, and I'd be curious on your perspective, but the written word and seems to have more power than someone just speaking to you in a sales call.
Can, because one of the things that happens in a sales call is you get, into the rhythm of that call when you talk to the person like they're a person. You're not a robot. You're not trying to. And we've all suffered through somebody's brutal sales pitch for, the invisible fence that's going to keep your dog in your yard, or like the crummy banner ads on the local newspaper where they've got a binder that they're reading from and they're saying exactly the same thing to every single person. When you're in a sales call, if you're good at it, it's a little more fluid than that. And so as you're talking to someone, as you're connecting with that prospect, you might forget to address the very kind of emotional problems that I'm speaking of, right? But I think what you're saying about your drip system is, knowingly or not, it's hitting on a lot of emotional issues that people have, or at least guys, do they understand my industry? Well, yeah, we're going to start with a competitive analysis. Uh, are they going to take my money and run? Well, no, we're going to communicate with you constantly. Tell me again. There was a couple other
Yeah. So transparency. So
transparency. Exactly. Am I going to know what they're doing? Oh yeah, okay. Uh, am I going to get results? Yeah, for sure. They're committing to getting me results. You know, you're like wittingly or unwittingly speaking to a lot of common emotional problems that our clients all have. And so I think when you go through it in a structured way, it's also coincidentally timed with them walking around for a couple of days in between booking the meeting and show up, where they're thinking, oh God, and they're just wandering around worrying about these kinds of things. So in you pop every once in a while saying, don't worry, we got this. Hey, here's another reason we got it. Hey, we've got you. Hey, it makes sense. Come on along. You know, it's really cool to hear about that email sequence because it's speaking to exactly the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I'm looking to I'm going to share my screen and run some AI prompts now to show you just the kind of stunning speed with which ChatGPT can help us out with this stuff. Is there someone in the group that wants to be a guinea pig for me and tell me what kind of clients they work with?
I'm gonna go ahead and say Rafat because she said home services right as soon as you started, so she was first one in.
Oh, perfect.
If you're good with that, if you don't mind unmuting, would love to have you participate.
Definitely.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Before we move on, I will read from Mike that Mike said he was going to say that use cases is another thing that clients ask for to make sure they can see you've gotten clients' results before they want to engage. If I remember correctly, I'm going to check my notes. I think that we might actually have a use case prompt in. Well, we're going one way or the other, but we can brainstorm on some ways to go from somebody to a case study. So we'll take a look at that later. Rafat, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So just tell me a bit about your agency.
Well, the focus is home services. So, those that you had mentioned, roofers, painters, solar, everything kind of under that branch, I guess you could say, are those that we're looking after.
Let's talk. I'm asking, as I'm asking, I'm typing something into Evernote. So forgive me while I make typing noises. I run a digital agency that helps home services companies, roofers. What did you say? Painters,
Yeah, painters, solar,
solar installers. Anybody else?
uh, yeah, let me see. HVAC professionals, home remodelers.
HVAC, rose, home remodelers, etc. All right. So now that we've popped that in there, I'm going to copy that and we're going to share my screen and go to Chat GPT. Set it up for you. All right. And then here we go. If you haven't tried this, it will literally blow your mind, frighten you, whatever you want to say. It's gonna knock you out. So here we are. I'm sure. Let me know if no one can see that we're in ChatGPT. All right, perfect. Bunch of dumb stuff on the side. In case you're curious, Cage GPT is my GPT that I made myself so that I can write like Nicolas Cage. If you type stuff in, you can ask it. It's based on some Nicolas Cage quotes and scripts and stuff, and it will actually spit out content like Nicolas Cage might say it. If you don't know me, and I'm not sure that anyone on this call does, if you don't know me, I have seen more than 60 Nicolas Cage movies, and I am still going. I am the Nicolas Cage man, which is why Cage GPT is on the side of my ChatGPT environment. But I digress. So here's the prompt. And you know what? We'll set it up so that you guys can get these prompts afterward. So don't worry about like frantically copying stuff down. Okay. Well, I was going to ask for a show of hands, but I'm now, my focus is on this tab, so I can't see the chat. But if you don't know what Storybrand is, there's a man named Donald Miller who wrote a book called Building Storybrand. And it's pretty much marketing 101, but it couches it in the idea that the way to succeed with marketing is by portraying your client as the hero of the story, and you are just a guide that helps them out along. If this was Star Wars, your client is actually Luke Skywalker, and you are Ben Kenobi, or maybe even C-3PO and R2-D2. You are supposed to be the one who guides them through their story of success, where they struggle with a problem. You present them with some help, and then they solve their problem and become the hero of their story. So this is Donald Miller's Storybrand basic idea. And he's the one who talked most popularly about functional pains and emotional pain. He also discusses philosophical pains like, I should be able to succeed, but we won't get into that because it really doesn't help us in the day-to-day work that we want to do. So in the language of good ChatGPT prompts, we've got this. You, ChatGPT, are an expert Storybrand consultant. I run a digital agency that helps home services companies with their marketing. Help me identify the external functional problems my clients face, the tangible business challenges that make them start looking for an agency like mine. Please structure your response this way. Give me the top functional problems. For each problem, include examples of how it shows up, include specific metrics or situations that indicate when they're experiencing this problem, add common phrases that they might use when they're describing each problem. Focus, and then here we're just getting chat not to like go off the rails. Focus only on these problems, not emotional ones, because we're going to do those next. Frame these problems as specific, observable business challenges. And yeah, incidentally, Rafat, you win the prize. I will copy all this stuff and share it with you so that once this is done for you, you will be able to simply copy what gets created here today and use it as you like.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So it really is as simple as firing it off. And here we go. Oh, interesting. Chat decided to pick the moment I'm on a webinar to have me beta test their new version. Perfect. Let's take a look at which one we like better. Well, if you've ever seen this from ChatGPT, it's saying which answer do you like best? And that's going to affect how the rest of the chat goes. I think we don't really need to put too much thought into which one we like better. I think the one on the left feels a little bit better. So I'm just going to say that one's good. But regardless, look at this thing go. It's just spitting out problem after problem with what they're seeing, metrics that might be seen by the company, and actual quotes from people. I mean, just there's so much stuff here that it's just astounding. And now, of course, I think what we're seeing is a hang up, which is there we go. I like this one. It's a little longer. Plus, look, it's even got like Angie's List and Home Advisor and stuff, right? I think we're going to say I prefer this response. So in just a couple of seconds, we've got 10 different business problems that these home services companies are likely facing, how it's showing up for them in their business, what metrics you can talk to make them feel like, oh, yeah, you know what? They really understand what I'm saying, and common phrases. You'll see as we move along with these prompts, how we're going to use these common phrases to actually write some marketing copy. This is the stuff that's going to move you from we do digital marketing to, are you tired of feeling like customers don't know you exist or that you're just another roofing company? Instantly, you sound more authoritative than you might if you were talking about how you can run SEO campaigns or do digital ads for them, right? So once we've got this stuff, we want it to do the same thing with emotional problems. That's as simple as saying, please do the same for their emotional problems. Yeah, it's going to spit out a bunch of stuff. There are common emotional problems across all industries. And you'll find that most of these are fairly obvious. But what I like about this process is it still knows that it's talking to home service companies. And so you'll see in a couple of spots that it'll speak to their problems in ways that might feel really relevant to them. Constantly throwing money at marketing, chasing bad leads. But I mean, when you can get your marketing to talk to wasted time, overwhelm, fear of competition, stress because the revenue comes in clumps and then seems to disappear. 1 month business is booming, the next the phone barely rings. Embarrassing website, anxiety over spending money on marketing because you're sort of out over your skis. That's a Canadian expression. Maybe some of you don't even know what skis are, depending on whether you're from Arizona or not. Exhaustion from wearing too many hats, doubts about their long-term growth. This is ChatGPT bump, but it really is instructive to pay attention to. These emotional challenges that would truly drive home service business owners to take action. They might talk about lead flow, rankings, or ROI, but deep down, they want relief from frustration, clarity in their marketing, and confidence in their growth. When you can talk to them about those things, they're going to be head and shoulders above anyone else that's competing with you, whether that's in a local area or whether that's in an industry. That makes sense for Five? Looking good so far?
Yes, that's really helpful. Thank you.
It's cool. It's really neat to see what this stuff can do. Here's where the magic happens. Now I would like to write a series of clear, readable marketing messages that target these functional problems while implicitly addressing the emotional problems my clients are facing. I want the emotional problems to stay hidden, especially in your industry where not to stereotype. There may be a lot of men that don't want to talk about through emotions. You don't want to make someone feel like you don't want to make them feel like you're condescending to them by talking about how they're useless at marketing. So we want the emotional stuff to inform your marketing messages, but you don't want to explicitly speak to them. I see, there you go. ChatGPT thinks I'm smart. Not getting enough leads. Your website should be working for you, not just sitting there. These are good and direct marketing messages. They're maybe not they're not the like Pulitzer Prize winning stuff. If it were me writing, I might write them a little more direct or shape them a little more. But by the same token, you pay $20 a month for ChatGPT, and as a result, you don't have to pay me $2,500 to write this stuff for you, right? So, like I said at the beginning of our thing, is it 100%? No, but it's 80%, and 80% can really get you far. This is really cool stuff, I think, and it sets you up with a bunch of marketing messages, right? That are certainly more targeted to your clients. Because if you pull up any 5 agency websites, you're going to see the same things. We're strategic partners. We deliver results. Passionate about our success and your success. Which is pretty ironic because if our job is to help clients stand out, most of our websites sound identical. Which happens because it's easy to write what we think sounds professional instead of what builds authority, right? Instead of claiming expertise, you need to demonstrate it. And you need to do it, as we see, in client language instead of industry jargon. The competitive advantage here is that many agency websites never mention the pains that we're talking about. They talk about their process and their awards and their years of business. And as I'm sure you all know, these things matter so much less to clients than hearing these kinds of challenges that we've just seen reflected back to them. Then that gives us a massive opportunity. Because when we build website content around their actual pains and language, then that's going to help us immediately stand out from the competition. So that's what I want to do next. I want to show you how to do some of that with AI. with some more prompts that I have prepared for you. We're going to move now into authority content. I'm going to see, this is the prompt that I would normally use. I would normally repeat, you're an expert Storybrand consultant. I run a digital agency that helps blah, blah, blah companies with their marketing. However, since we're in the same chat window, we're just going to go ahead and just do that because we've already done all this work, right? So we don't have to copy it, paste it in, and start over again. Now, please write a Storybrand style homepage for my agency that relies on, let's say, the messaging above. A little bit of context. In this Storybrand book, a Storybrand style homepage starts with a hero that talks about the problem, moves into some empathetic stuff about what they're struggling with, and uses essentially a formulaic approach to creating a website. You don't have to build yours this way. In fact, you might want to switch it up so that anybody that's familiar with Storybrand doesn't say, oh, that's a Storybrand website. But say what you want. Donald Miller's formula really ticks all the boxes that customers need to see when they're making a buying decision. So although these sections that are about to come up might be unfamiliar to you, you'll see that they hit a lot of the basic things that we need. Your marketing should bring in customers, not, cause confusion. We help home services business get more leads, book more jobs, and grow with proven marketing strategies that actually work. Wow, what a sentence right there. Right. Tell me that doesn't sum up your business for fat. Looks pretty good to me. If you're like most home service business owners, you don't have time to waste on marketing that doesn't deliver, blah, blah. We make sure that you do not lose time, money, and opportunities. It's pretty cool. We're not talking about, we've been building websites for 13 years. We can run ad campaigns that save you on ad spend. We can guarantee return on investment, all that jargony stuff. We're saying, look, we know you don't have enough leads. We know that you're buried under competitors. We know you're spending money on ads, but not seeing results. And we know that referrals are not enough. We make sure that you get this solution: more leads, more visitors, higher rankings, more conversions, better reputation. I mean, this stuff is custom crafted for home services business. Here's how to work with us. Schedule a call, get a plan, start growing. Why us? We work with these people. We've helped businesses generate thousands of leads, increase revenue, and take control of their marketing. Here's what our clients have to say. Boom. Let's go. Simple as anything. And with about 300 words, you can do more on your website than most people do with their whole site. Because we're setting ourselves up as an authority. Look, we've got you. We know exactly what you need. We know what your problems are. And we're here to help. Finally, you've got someone on your side that will save you from the crap that you're going through. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is great. I wish I had it when I was going through my website. Yeah.
Well, I also used to build websites about 104 years ago. And we all know on this call how easy it is to change a website. I mean, let's put it this way: your biggest problem is time.
Yeah.
If anybody in the world can make changes to a website, it's us on this call, and you are just a few sort of tweaks away from making your website much more effective. And of course, if you do, like I said, I could have done, and copy all this stuff down into a document and upload it, then you can say, now that you know all this about my business, give me a best practices about page. Give me a best practices service page. And you can ask it to riff on what you've told it about what you do to make those pages better as well. You can even copy, you can even like set up project over here, like a space where you can upload documents and say, this is the stuff that you need to know for everything that I do from now on. And you can upload all this information And then you can paste in your current website copy and say, look, here's my existing service page. Based on what you know about my clients, how would you improve it? And it'll spit out a bunch of recommendations for you. Pretty crazy stuff. But with the website, obviously, is only one piece. One of the other things that we struggle with is consistent content creation. You write a great blog post, you share it on LinkedIn, maybe get some engagement, and then you're back to square one, right? Staring at a blank page, wondering what to write next. One of the things Mike promised you in this call was we're going to talk about what happens when each piece of content leads naturally to the next. That is what we call a content flywheel, where this flywheel is a self-sustaining cycle that is built on your client insights feeding your content, and then client feedback on that content helping you create new content. So it could work like this. For example, you publish an insight on your website about a client challenge, one of these ones that we identified. You share it on LinkedIn, but instead of just dropping the link there and leaving, you ask questions. So your audience responds, they share their experience, their perspectives, their comments. Let's say they reveal new angles that you hadn't considered, new pain points, new language. And so now you have fuel for your next piece of website content, like an FAQ based on the questions that came up, or case study. Thank you, Mike. That addresses a specific concern that someone raised. And so when you share that new content, it sparks fresh discussions and gives you even more insights. And that is how authority builds on itself. Every cycle of that process makes your content more relevant, more authentic, because it's directly shaped by conversation with your audience. You're not just broadcasting your expertise. You are demonstrating it, and you are staying actively engaged with the stuff that's happening in your chosen industry, right? So to get that process started, you might have guessed by now, add more prompts. Let's say you've got a Facebook group that you're in. Please create 25 conversation starters I can use in a Facebook group where my clients are. What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your business right now? What's one marketing strategy that's actually worked for you? If you had to double your revenue in the next 6 months, what would you focus on first? What's been your experience with Google? Waste the money or worth it? What's your biggest frustration with online marketing? All of these conversation starters, since they've been informed by the work that we've done here in this chat thread, they're doing exactly what we asked it to do. They are assuming, quite rightly, that we now know the problems that our clients are facing, both the functional tip of the iceberg ones and the emotional ones that sit under the ocean. And we're speaking to them like we're experts in this industry, like we're authorities on this stuff. So this is going to, like chat says here, get home service business owners talking about their challenges, position you as someone who understands those challenges, and open the door for natural discussions about marketing without being salesy and gross. I don't like those things. I think you could probably figure that out by now. Now, could I have 50 ideas related to all of this that I could use for blog posts or social media content? Let's not do 50 because you don't need to see it make 50, but let's just say 10. Like, this is just this content in a box, you know? No, they're not SEO optimized. We've got that company to help you with an SEO strategy. But these would, for example, make great LinkedIn posts where you don't have to care about SEO. 5 simple ways to get more Google reviews. They could be videos you can embed on your site. They could be podcast topics, or let's say, Rafat, you get invited to do an article in an HVAC industry magazine. Why most HVAC businesses waste money on ads and how to keep from doing so. How you can be the one that spends right. The stuff is fantastic for making you look like the queen. I don't know how to put it more simply than that.
Yeah, I love this. One of our folks has a question here, Alicia. I know your hand was up. I was just kind of waiting until we got to a Q&A part.
Yeah, thanks, Alicia.
Okay.
Good question here. So address the part where it says, look at what my clients have to say. What if they're a new agency with no testimonials?
Yeah. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, Alicia.
How are you? Thank you so much for going over what you've gone through. Yeah, I was just curious to ask about that part because everything that you've shown was really great. But knowing myself, like if I'm a customer
Yep.
and anybody's that's trying to pitch any kind of service to me, like the testimonial part has a lot to do with my decision making. So,
Gotcha. Yep.
you know, is that huge for your website, to show that? And how do you do that when you're just starting out?
So let me read between the lines. You're starting out, Alicia, and you don't have a lot of testimonials yet.
Yeah, exactly.
And by you don't have a lot, I mean you got a big fat donut. So
I'm in that
here's
self-care space, just having a hard time trying to get through like doctors, dentists, and stuff like that. So,
good. Okay. So let's pretend that let's pick a favorite. Maybe it's a doctor, maybe it's a dentist, maybe whatever, you know. Maybe it's your dentist or your doctor. You could use chat to use this stuff to as we've done all this work, you could say, I want to write a letter suggesting that they should let me handle some tiny piece of their market. Maybe you want to do something like what particular services do you offer, Alicia?
I would be focusing on SEO and PPC ads and possibly reputation management as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so you could so one really easy foot in the door service is Google Business Profile. You could go to find, let's say, you could look for dentists in your area and look, obviously there's going to be the 3 that are in the map pack, and then there's going to be 7 more or 17 more, 27 more that are trying to get in the map pack. You could write a letter to those dentists and say, look, I'm doing dental marketing. I know what I'm doing. I know that you're struggling with all these problems that we've talked about because ChatGPT told you what they might be struggling with.
Okay.
And you could say, look, I'm willing to remake your Google Business Profile for free in exchange for testimonial and a case study. You hand me a testimonial. I'll do the work for you. I mean, you're going to do maybe 2 hours of work, right? I'll do the work for you if you let me, if you give me a testimonial, and I can write a case study about the work that we did together. And we're going to improve your business profile so that it can compete with the other ones. And then you can talk about blah, 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 blah. And, maybe with 90 minutes or 120 minutes of work, you can get a solid review and a case study. And if you feel like it, you can do it another time. And then all of a sudden you've got 2. And really, maybe that's all you need, right? Can you see a blank tab right now? You see me dialing up this website? Oh, no, here we go. Share this.
No.
Instead. Here we go. So this little tiny agency that I'm just spinning up right now,
Okay.
just forget for a second that it looks like the Minnesota Vikings. It looks like a good website, all kinds of cool stuff. And then really, all we got is 2 testimonials. That's all I have right now. But those look great. And why wouldn't somebody, look at, they helped me grow from 0 to 20 appointments a month. My business was hard to find on the web. They recommended changes that make a real difference. Now I get more web traffic and inquiries. That's literally all you need. You're just a couple of, and I know it's not like you just walk into those 2 free projects, but you're closer than you think to getting some really cool experience under your belt and getting those fabulous testimonials. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I see. I see where you're going. Okay, that's creative.
But then the other piece, I mean, who gives a bleep? Who gives a curse word? If you've got a website that speaks to your experience and your authority here, you might find somebody that will let you work for them without those testimonials. Sometimes I don't have it perfect is kind of like a version of approach avoidance.
Let me jump in real quick and kind of reframe also something that you already give away that you could be leveraging. So if all of our partners, they all give away the competitor analysis. I know this is normal for us, and I know that we don't necessarily ask for testimonials or case studies or whatever, but a lot of work is poured into that. They get so much value from that that you could say, hey, I tell you what, we're going to put a ton of work in. We're going to look at what your competitors are doing, give you a full analysis. All I'm going to
Mhm.
ask is you give me a testimonial, about that experience. Would you be okay with doing that if we put in that work? We're already doing it for you, right? You don't have to go invent something new to give away, right? Or buy one of our services to give away, and spend money. We're already helping you give away something, right? And you could leverage. We've
Mhm.
actually helped our partners. So lots of folks that we actually look at it as we probably should ask more than we do, but for folks that are too small, they're not ready to work with you. They don't have the budget or whatever the case might be. It's very common for Marty or I to say, hey, was this a great experience? Do you mind just leaving us a Google review? Right? Just so we could get something for you, right? So yeah, you could actually ask for that in advance of even scheduling that meeting, and now you're in charge of following up and getting that little testimonial experience.
Got it. Okay. Okay. I guess my concern is, like we're all on a call to get more leads or we don't have enough leads and we're trying to figure out, the mind, right, of somebody who wants we want to get into their mind so that they could visit our website and turn those visits into, sales. But it's like, I can't help but to think about myself, like any kind of like I never make a decision to go with someone new. I mean, unless I see, okay, I check Business Bureau. Sometimes I look at those reviews, like, how many reviews, 5 stars do they have? Like I do that mentally. And so I'm just
Mm.
struggling, just with, gosh, I don't have anything on my website to vouch for this great person that I am,
Well, I mean,
So it's like, what get through the door kind of thing. Like, how easy is it really to get that first person who will just go with you, even though you have no backing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
It certainly is a lot of volume of conversations. It depends on the folks you're talking to. It can depend on the industry. A lot of factors go into uh, how many conversations you need to have with lack of social proof before you get that
mhm,
one that just does it. The nice thing is they see the process, right? Like they see the
mm,
strategy, they see the intelligence. And that's why we do that competitor analysis because it does help overcome a lot of that of just fear of like, how do I know you guys are any good? They hear it.
right.
Uh,
Okay.
but the other thing is, I'll just throw this in, and Aaron, I'll give the mic back to you. But the other thing is, there's nothing wrong with you going through your existing network of family and friends and offering, to do that again, the competitor analysis for them and asking for that testimonial. And they're of course like going to be far more likely to do that and leave you that Google review, right? Um,
Okay.
and, like, you should always provide something. I don't think, like, a family and friend should just be, like, 5 stars, and they never actually experienced anything related to your work. Um, they should experience something related to your work, and that way it's an ethical, acquisition of a review. But yeah, you could do that too to help kind of boost up that authority.
yeah, like
Okay. Thank you so much.
for example, you could get chat to write you some imaginary quotes that you could bring to people. Say, you know, can I put your name on this? What whatever you did before, decided to focus on, the dentist and doctor agency. Maybe there's a boss there or a coworker or whatever where you could write something about your, um, your thoroughness or your attention to detail or anything, right? Like
Personal qualities.
personal, at least it's got such a great attention to detail. I would trust her with my marketing all day, every day. I mean, that sounds like this person's a client of yours when in fact they're just saying they would trust you with their marketing. And there's ways to get around it.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Don't
thank
call
you.
don't call it reviews, call it referral.
Exactly. Right.
Just by saying the term referral instead of review, you're going to switch something in their head to give you the language like a referral instead of just, yeah, 5 stars. That's good.
Smart.
Referral is going to be personal.
That's cool. Thanks, Marty.
No,
Uh,
thank
one
you. Thank you so much, everybody.
one quick inspirational story, Alicia. I used to do this corporately and decided that I wanted to start an agency in 2011. If you saw Brent Weaver on this space a couple weeks ago, he was my first ever client. I literally was in a community of his, paying him $99 a month, and sent him an email one day that said, listen, I'm not going to pay you anymore because I'm not going to build websites. I'm just going to do content because all I do is content anymore, and I'm not going to do websites anymore. So if you ever need a writer, let me know. And he kind of went, ha, ha, ha. And 3 weeks later, his writer quit. And so he said, hey, here you go. And that started my whole business. The same thing can happen for you. Like you never know when you're going to find the one that sets everything off, right? You might find the most influential dentist in your town who says, oh, you know what? I'm going to a conference next month. I'm going to share your name with all these other dentists. And then all of a sudden you got 6 clients, right? Hang in there.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We're super close on time. So I'm going to do this instead. I will show you some more of these prompts that I will share with you. We won't run them, but we've got one for, let's say you're rambling to Zoom about, just talking to yourself about a project that you did. Download the transcript, feed it into ChatGPT and say, please analyze this transcript and write a case study about my project. Use a format where you're talking about the challenge the customer was facing, the solution we brought to the table, and the results the client enjoyed. Please also write an imaginary quote from my client that I can ask them to approve. Or you've got a LinkedIn post or a Facebook post. Here's a LinkedIn post about this and its comments. Analyze the discussion and create frequently asked questions for my website. Or here's a case study that I wrote. Break it into a series of 5 LinkedIn posts that tell the story over time. Or, give me one of these carousels that everybody loves. I want to write a 9-slide carousel based on this case study. Please summarize the case study in a set of 9 different sentences. Or here are recent questions from clients during my sales calls. Transform these into a blog post outline. The post should address the deeper concerns, include context, blah, blah, blah. Chat is your friend, friends. And you can get it to do anything that you want. Best of all, when you train it with the stuff that we saw, the functional emotional problems, when it does anything that you want, it will not just hallucinate a bunch of generic crap, but it will instead give you stuff that feels to your customers like the real deal.
So, Aaron, we got 2 questions to wrap us up. One is, everybody's chomping at the bit. Where can they get access to these prompts that you've shown us? And is there a document or?
Yeah, I'm going to format them up, put them into a Word doc, and slap an email on the bottom there in case you want to get in touch with me. And then I'll give it to Mike and ask him to send it out to you tomorrow with the recording so that the people that are watching the recording can get it too.
Excellent. Excellent. Very much appreciate that. And then second, let's say somebody wants to work with you, just give folks a little bit of background. What are the main things that you work on, right? I know you've done a lot, right? You write website content, you write social content, you've written books, just tell
I used to say, if it's got words, I'll do it. I'm best with websites and funnels for sure. I have had 15 years of experience working white label the same way that you do with these guys. I'm very good at slotting into people's existing processes. There are agencies now who are finding that when it comes to writing content for their clients, AI is not cutting it. It's very difficult to get the results that they want with AI. It's much easier to see when AI is being weird or doing a bad job when it's your own stuff. So while I recommend turn AI loose on your own agency, some people are not comfortable doing that with clients. And I find that I get called most often to do one of two things these days. Either my client doesn't want to use AI, please do human content from start to finish, or please help me use AI better to create client content. So while this, while if you know me, you would know that none of this was a sales pitch today. If you are at all interested in talking about those kinds of things, I am first and foremost a capitalist, and I welcome your US dollars because they spend about twice as far up here in Canada. So come on along, and daddy needs a new pair of shoes. So, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about either finding some way to work with you and your agency, or simply just helping you use AI better. I'm okay one way or the other. And then my email in the chat, so you're welcome to reach out. It's also not exactly an everyday name, so if you just pop my name into Google, you'll find it.
So Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time today. I think we have one last question, then we'll wrap up. Mike said, "Hey, I've been thinking of writing a book one day. Would love to know how you approach it. If you can offer some input."
I'm going to end on a joke, I think. Mike, they say everybody has a book in them. Most people that have books should stay there. It's interesting, Mike. You should email me because I've been experimenting with using AI to help outline a book. I don't think you should use AI to write a book, but I've done some really interesting experiments on using AI to force you to be much more thorough about why the book and how it will benefit your readers. There's a guy out there, his name escapes me. I think it's called the Scribe method now. It used to be called Book in a Box. Now it's called the Scribe method. And his whole book is, dude, if you're going to write a book, go through this process so that the book is at least worth it for your readers. And so I've taken that book and chatized it so that AI and I can have a conversation about what does this book do? Why would it be readable? And blah, blah, blah. Thank you. That's exactly the book that I'm looking for. Tucker Max. So yeah, let's get in touch, Mike, because I will share prompts with you that you can use to use as an editor and to push you and to say, why would anybody care? Who's this for? Like explicitly, who is for? Why would anyone care? What are you going to write about? What's the outline look like for each chapter? And so on and so forth. It's going to ignite your book writing process. Awesome. Yeah. And you won't ever have to deal with me. Mike said in my bio that I helped Brent Weaver write a book. That only tells half the story because Brent started out by sending me an entire manuscript. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you this, but it's really bad and you have to start over. So Brent wrote 2 books. Only one of them I wrote with him. The first one he threw out. This will help you keep from feeling that pain.
Awesome. Thank you.
Everyone,
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening.
yeah, thanks for coming and hang out with us. Hope you got a lot of great value. Aaron, you are amazing, man. I really appreciate your time. I know that you do this from a love and place of passion, not a place of, oh, hey, I want to come sell people. But I always love to give people the 30 seconds to at least, hey, this is how you could work with me. So
Thank you. I mean, for sure, you can't pay the mortgage with passion. So I do appreciate it. But first and foremost, this is a ace of love for me. It's been a lifelong thing. It's been weird lately with AI coming in and biting at the edges, but I think if you take anything away from this conversation, you can see that I come at AI from the point of view of a craftsman going, how can this tool help try to duplicate what I do or help augment what I do, instead of simply like these bros you see on YouTube where they're like, I make $15,000 a week by cranking out, that's not me. But this is like, how can we use this to help grow businesses instead of just simply put writers to work?
absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.